Hi folk, we're busy looking at probability and we've just covered a wonderful section looking at tree diagrams. Well, another way of working out probability, besides using words like and or, besides using tree diagrams, is by using something called two-way tables. What is a two-way table? Let's have a look. So, a two-way table, also known as a contingency table, works in a similar way to a tree diagram. We write the outcomes of one event in rows and the outcomes of the other event in columns. For example, this table shows all the possible combinations for tossing a coin twice. So let's have a look here. Over here, this row, I'm going to say is coin 1, and here is my coin 2, or my second toss. Okay, so we'll call this toss 1, toss 2. Cool, toss 1, toss 2. Same coin, here we go. So if toss 1 is a head, and the second toss is a head, then I'll have a head and a head. If the first toss is a tail and the second toss is a head, my outcome is I'll have a head and a tail. Likewise here, if my first toss is a head but my second toss is a tail, I will have a tail and a head, or tail and a tail. So as you can see, there are 4 possible outcomes. Each block in this table will show a possible outcome of the combined events. Let's look at a worked example to understand this better. Right, let's get going. Pumisa collects information about the cats and dogs that learners in her class have as pets. There are 30 learners. For each learner, there are 4 possible responses. She collects the following information below. The learner has a cat and a dog. There are 5 of them. The learner that has a cat but not a dog, there's 6 of them. The learner that has a dog but not a cat, well, there are 12 of those students. And there are 7 students who do not have a cat or a dog. Right. So now we're going to show this information on a two-way table. First thing, I can see I've got here learners that have dogs and learners that do not have dogs. Learners that have a cat and learners that do not have a cat. So the first thing is learners that have a cat and a dog. So we're going to look at this column because it has a dog and has a cat. So has a dog, has a cat, there are 5 of them. So I'm going to put the number 5 here. I'm going to use a different color so it shows better on your screen. 5. Right. The learner has a cat but not a dog. Has a cat but does not have a dog. There's 6 of them. The learner has a dog, so we know we're dealing in this column, but not a cat. Has a dog, not a cat. There are 12 of those learners. Okay? And the learner does not have a cat nor a dog. No dog, no cat. There are 7 of those learners. Okay, how many learners should there be in total? There should be 30. Remember our question said there are 30 learners. So let's do a bit of addition and see if we get 30 here. I'm going to bring out the calculator and I'm going to say, right, we've got 5 learners plus these 6 learners plus those 12 learners plus 7 learners that don't have a dog or a cat. And we can see we got a total then of 30. Okay, so we haven't made a mistake. All our numbers tally nicely. Right, draw up a two-way table to show all the possible outcomes for tossing a red dice and a blue dice. Okay, so we got 2 dice. We've got a red one and a blue dice. So I'm going to say the dice here is my red dice, and over here I'm going to have all my blue dice. Now remember, there are different outcomes. My red dice, it could actually be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6. Okay? And blue dice, it could be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6. So, if the first one's a 1 and the blue dice is a 1, I'm going to have 1, 1 as a combination. If the red dice is a 2 and the blue dice is a 1, I've got the combination 2, 1. If the red dice is a 3, the blue dice is a 1, I've got the combination 3, 1. Okay, where 3 is the red and the blue is 1. And likewise, I'm not going to fill in the whole table because otherwise we'll be here forever. But if we look at it, if blue was a 4 and red was a 5, blue being 4, red being 5, the red was 5, blue was 4, that is a possible outcome. Okay, then we ask questions. How many outcomes are there? Well, all these are outcomes. Now, do not do what so many students do. They say, well, this dice has got 6 possibilities. This dice has got 6 possibilities. That means there's 12. No. Let's look here. These are all possibilities. When I add up all these blocks, I'm going to land up with 36 possibilities. That's a lot of possibilities. Okay, next one. What is the chance of rolling a 3 on the blue and any number on the red? So 3 on the blue and any number on the red. How many possibilities? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 out of 36, which is 1 in 6 chances. Okay. Now, what is the chance of rolling a 4 on the red dice and a 2 on the blue? So blue, we definitely won 2. Red, we definitely won 4. Or was it 5? What was it? Let's just check again. A 2 and a 4. So 2 on the blue, 4 on the red. There's only 1 possibility. So 1 in 36 chances. Okay, let's have a look here. When asked which cool drinks they prefer, a group of people answered the following. Okay, now complete the table. Right, guys, this is now an interesting thing to look at. Okay, I love these contingency tables because it involves so much organizing and so much structure. Okay, but it's so easy. Let's look. First of all, we've got how many people prefer Coke, Fanta, Sprite Zero, lemonade. And then they give us a total, okay? And this is a total for women 50 and older. Then women less than 50, what cold drinks do they like? And how many of those women did we interview? Men 50 and older, how many men are there who prefer Coke, Fanta, Sprite, lemonade? And what's the total number of men 50 and older that we interviewed, and men younger than 50. So just looking at this, there are 21 women who are less than 50 years old who liked Fanta. Okay, so of all the women who were less than 50, all those women that we interviewed, and we're not sure yet how many we interviewed, we know that 21 of them love Fanta. Let's have a look at this. How many men love Fanta who are younger than 50? Well, we interviewed 167 men that were younger than 50. And of those 167, 51 of them said, we like Fanta. Okay, so let's complete this table. Now, folks, when we look at this table, it is quite difficult in the sense that we can't just start slotting in numbers anywhere. So if we were just to look at this first line, you can see I've got 1 unknown here in my total and 1 unknown in my Fanta. So I cannot put in figures because I could get a number of answers there. So I've got to look for either rows or columns where there's only one missing value. So let's have a look here. If I look at this value here, women 50 and older who love Fanta, I can see that this column only has one missing value. So I would be able to fill in an answer there. So we're saying what plus 21 plus 13 plus 51 will give me 150. Now, let's use our calculator to do this. Okay, so on my calculator, I've got a total of 130. I'm going to subtract 51, subtract 13, subtract 21, and I'm going to land up with an answer of 45. So I know that I have 45 women who are 50 years and older who love Fanta. Now this is where it gets so exciting, because now I can see, I've filled in this value. So now this line only has one missing value. I can find that because I know that value. So let's add it up, shall we? So I'm going to say, right, so clear our calculator. We know 21 plus 45 plus 24 plus 81 gives me a total of 171. So there were 171 women who were 50 years and older that we interviewed, of which 81 loved lemonade, 24 loved Sprite Zero, 45 loved Fanta, and 21 so enjoyed Coke. Now, let's look. Where else do we have one missing? Well, in this row, I've got two missing. Here's a nice one. This row only has one missing. So I can find the total for the number of men who are 50 years and older. And again, folk, I'm going to take my calculator to do this because why? Because then I don't have to think. Right, so let's do this. So on my calculator, I've got 52 plus 13 plus 5 plus 7 equals a total of 77. So we didn't really interview too many men who are 50 and older. Okay, what else can we fill in? Well, looking at this, we can't fill this row in because I have two missing. But when I look here, I've got only one missing. So if I add up these totals, I should get a grand total. So let's do that as well, shall we? So we're going to say I've got 225. To that I'm adding 130. 96 people in total loved Sprite Zero, and 107 in total loved lemonade, which gives me 558. So how many people did we interview in total? We interviewed 558 people in total. Right, let's see if something else. Looking at this row, everything's filled in. I still got two missing values. Everything's filled in. I still got two missing values. Let's go now look at the columns. Now, columns, two missing values. Fanta, everything filled in. Sprite Zero, I can fill this in. Why can I fill it in? Because I've only got one missing values. So 24 plus 64 plus 5 plus something will give me a total of 96 people who loved Sprite Zero. Okay, so calculator, thank you very much. We're going to say we've got 96. We're going to subtract 5, subtract 64, subtract 24, and we get an answer of 3. So only 3 men who are younger than 50 enjoyed Sprite Zero. Okay, right. Now, how exciting is this? Because we filled this value, we can now fill in this value. Why? Because I've got one missing. At the same time, I could actually also fill in the total for the women less than 50. Why? Because I've only got one missing in this column. Right? So we can do either one. I'm going to look at men younger than 50 and see how many men younger than 50 liked Coca-Cola. So how many men younger than 50 did we interview? We interviewed 167, of which 8 liked lemonade. Only 3 liked Sprite Zero. 51 liked Fanta, leaving me with 105. So 105 seemed quite popular, okay, or Coke seemed quite popular with men who are younger than 50 years old. Okay, again, exciting news because it's allowing me now to fill in this column. Why? Because I've only now got one missing. So let's do that quickly. I'm going to say, right, total of 225 people like Coke, minus 105 men younger than 50, minus 52 men older than 50, minus 21 women older than 50, gave me a total of 47 women younger than the age of 50 liked Coke. Right, now we can fill in our final missing value. We can do that one of two ways. Either we're going to add these values and get my total, or we can say 558 minus these values to tell me how many people less or women less than 50 we actually interviewed. Okay, so let's have a look at this. I'm going to do it by means of just adding up. So I'm going to say I've got 47 plus 21 women like Fanta, plus 64 women less than 50 like Sprite Zero, plus 11 women we interviewed like Lemonade, 143. Okay, now there is a way to check whether our table makes sense or not, or whether it's correct or not. And the way we do that is we can add up all our values that run horizontally and see if they add up to the total. We can add up all our values that run vertically and see if they add up to the totals. Let's see what I mean. So first of all, we can say, right, how much does 21 plus 45 plus 24 plus 81 add up to 171? So we say 21 plus 45 plus 24 plus 81, and that gives me an answer of 171. Cool, that row is right. Let's check the next row. My next row, 47 plus 21 plus 64 plus 11, it adds to 143. We write here as well. Then we want to see how many people did we interview, or how many men did we interview who were 50 years old and older. There were 52 plus 13 plus 5 plus 7, and that gave me 77. And then we'd add up this column and we'd get 167. We'd add up this row and get 558. That row, 167. Now we add the columns. So we say, what's 21 plus 47 plus 52 plus 105? It is indeed 225. What is 45 plus 21 plus 13 plus 51? It is indeed 130. What is 24 plus 64 plus 5 plus 3 plus 96? 3, it is indeed 96. And 81 and 11 and 7 and 8 is 107. 171, 143, 77, 167 is indeed 558. And then from this contingency table, we could be asked a few questions. For example, from the table, determine the probability a woman less than 50 years prefers Sprite Zero. So the thing is, we're looking at a woman less than 50 years preferring Sprite Zero. So how many women less than 50 did we interview? We interviewed 143 of them. How many preferred Sprite Zero? 64. So there's 64 out of 143 is a probability that a woman less than 50 years old likes Sprite Zero. What's a probability that a person, what's a person, a male or a female, preferring the least favorable cool drink? Okay, so how many people did we have? We had 558 people. How many of them prefer the least favorite cold drink? What's the least favorite? Coke was 225, Fanta was 130, Sprite Zero was 96, Lemonade 107, 96. So the probability of someone preferring Sprite Zero would be 96 out of all those we interviewed, 558. And just remember, we don't leave our answer like that. We also simplify it. And to simplify it, we can use our calculator. And we can say, right, we got 96 over 558. Look what happens when I push equals. It simplifies it for me. And I get an answer of 16 over 93. We still got more work to do on this, okay, on these contingency tables. So we'll carry on after the break. See you soon.